I read that you were also homeless. So what was your lowest moment before you finally had some success? What was your lowest moment, John?
So I also want to put some context.
Okay, go ahead.
I was homeless by choice.
Okay.
A lot of people are struggling with the inability to choose. Mm-hmm. My dad is fantastic and always has been great to all of his sons. And he's always been like, hey, you always got a roof over your head. You can always come home. But he also told me as I left for California from the mean street of West Newbury, you'll never make it. You'll be back in 2 weeks. Oh. So I don't know if he's a genius or he's just an asshole.
Right.
But it worked.
Right.
I didn't want to come home.
He put pressure on you.
So when all of my plans failed and all my resources were dwindling, again, I had a choice. Do I stay? And if I stay, this is going to be the roof over my head for a while. But I loved it. Like, parked my car in the parking lot of Gold's Gym, slept in the back, worked at the gym. So the gym was open at 4. I'd go shower, use the locker room, clock into work. On my break, I'd work out. The protein bar places where I worked, so I get a discount on all my supplements. Every once in a while, a 5-finger discount. Thank you, Nutrition Club stores. I was well fed. I got enough rest. And I was happy, and it was by choice. And this is a very fortunate story of being without a physical mailbox by choice. So I don't regret those days. And it was something that I think the struggle is a lot more entertaining when you want to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, a tough practice is more rewarding when you know this is the work I got to do to get the goal. Mm-hmm. It was just one of those cases.
Right. So with that situation, you had very limited overhead.
I did. I was the company was operating at a loss, and we were paying some heavy interest to the credit card holders at that point. Yeah.
So when did your break come?
When the WWE called, it was then the WWF, and said we would like to give you a contract.
Okay.
And that was when I went from working on the weekends to or working during the week to dressing up on the weekends to being a professional.
Okay.
It was a break, but my contract was for $12,500 a year.
What?
And my rent was for $12,000. No, it was for my rent was $1,200 a month. So I quit my job immediately to become a professional. I was already operating at a loss, but the good thing about credit cards is they'll mail you more opportunities to get more credit cards. So I was just like, yeah, I'll just take more of the plastic pieces that get me free food and all that. This is going to be great. So I bet on myself.
Okay.
And I knew that I couldn't juggle things. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it fully focused and wholeheartedly. And if I lost, I would fall. It would be by my own choices. So I quit my job. I was upside down on a lot of bills and upside down on rent and stuff. But I got to go to every practice. I got to gain fluency really quick because I mashed in my 10,000 hours. So they gave me a small break, but a break nonetheless. And then about 9 months after that, they moved me to Middle America, and I started wrestling in Kentuckiana for Ohio Valley Wrestling. And then about a year later, by accident, I got on TV.
You got called up to the big time.
Yeah.
What was that I mean, you mentioned a situation, John, that your dad, like, he was very proud of his 5 boys. You guys had done a lot. I'm sure he was proud of you, but he said that when you decided that you were going to move to California, he's like, you're not going to make it. Mm. When you had made it, did you call him and say, Dad, I made it?
You know what? No. I'm really working hard, and thank you very much for asking. I'm really working hard on building a great relationship with my dad. He just turned 80 and I love him, and we're starting to like dive into those moments. I can't wait to find out the answer to that question because I'm so happy with where we are.
Right.
I think for so long I wanted him to call me and be like, yo, you made it. But I still don't know if he was withholding his attaboy. So I kept going for some reason to maybe get it at the last moment. I don't know. The point is I've been able to work on self and let go of the need for his approval, which has been awesome because now we can just live as men and as peers and talk about our own life. I cannot wait to hear my dad's answer to that question. But I don't ever believe in making it. I don't ever believe someone has made it. I believe you can close chapters in your life, and I believe that there are instances where it's time to move on. But in my perspective, it's like I try never to use the word deserve.
Okay.
I prefer the word earned. Because what the hell do I deserve? I wake up every day. That's fantastic. And I try to earn the right to wake up every day. So I don't know. I think I'm worried that if I ever say to myself, I've made it, I will become complacent in life. And I don't mean like not make a paycheck.
Right.
I mean like not be curious about life. Even coming into this place, I'm like, wow, this place is so great. And I'm curious about the wallpaper and the fire and what this podcast is going to be. I don't ever want to lose that. You know,
When you
this is great.
when you left home and you said, okay, you and your dad have the relationship, you're not trying to recapture what was lost. You're just trying to move on from this point and move forward.
Man, that's a crazy thing about time. You can't fix what was happened. Yeah. And I think when you can get to a point to be like, let's say in forgiving my dad, first I got to forgive myself.
Yes.
And I got to be okay with myself. And I think when you get to that point, then you're like, oh man, you more than likely, although through my eyes, it looked like this was bad for me, more than likely, I've known you for 47 years. You more than likely were trying to do the best you could as a parent. I can't fault you for that, bud. So what do we do now? Let's have a drink. Let's have a cigar. And hey, what was your college life like? What's the craziest thing you've ever done? What's the worst thing I've ever done to you? Stuff like that's going on now.
Most of the time, John, people parent as if they were parented. And so maybe that's how his dad gave him your grandfather gave your dad tough love. But you said something very interesting. My grandma used to always tell me all the time, she'd say, son, there can never be freedom without forgiveness.
I'm a strong advocate of that, and that's the first time I've heard it. I think once you get to the ability where you can genuinely forgive, that doesn't mean you need to forget.
No.
When you can forgive, you literally free yourself of whatever the burden is that's on your shoulders. That's very profound. I'm a believer.
Forgiveness is not for the person that you feel, and I don't know if you feel this, and I'm just saying for context here. Forgiveness is not for the person that you feel that have wronged you. Forgiveness is for you.
Yes.
Because you're the one, your feelings, your emotions are being held hostage. They're living their life. They might not even know that you're wrong.
They might not even know. Like, I can't wait to have this conversation with my dad. Do you know that I've been looking for a good job for like 30 years? I never knew, dude. It's one of those things where because we are at times uncomfortable about talking about our feelings, we don't talk about this stuff. So how can someone know? You know, they're probably just trying to do the best they can.
You were a rapper. You sold 140,000 copies your first week. You debuted at number 15 on the Billboard 200, but that album has gone platinum, 1.3 million copies to this day. Did you think,
Dude, come on.
Did you think that was possible?
There's nothing about the current state of being.
Yeah, you don't strike me as Eminem.
No.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because you know we like to do something before two something.